to the conversation this morning on the program. Let's turn to sub-nationals and the issues that related to them. The last 3 years, we're seeing not just President Bola Tinubu, but the federal government say that, look, the dynamics have changed fundamentally in terms of the monies that go straight to states and by extension the local governments. And they say that can largely be attributed to, first, the very radical reforms that the president introduced right from day one. Second, the fact that there has been a suspension of payment of subsidies, and that has been right from the very day the president got inaugurated and took over the leadership of this country. And the president has never missed words by saying that, look, we have more money going to state governments. And as such, much as we want to hold the federal government accountable for certain things, especially within the mandate of the federal government, or if you like, within the different categories of who should do what, we must also realize that the states have roles that they must, by way of obligation, discharge. All right, and that has never been more important as it is now, given that the states now have more money. And somebody jokingly said a couple of days ago that governors don't talk much anymore about financial constraints and a drop or a decline in monthly allocation. But the question is, while the governors may not be forthcoming regarding those figures in terms of what comes to them every month, do the people hold their respective governors, or if you like, state governments, accountable enough to say, look, let's see if we're putting our money where our mouth is? That's what the conversation is this morning. And add to that, the fact that there are now issues around states that are highly, highly indebted. The ranking came out not too long ago, and there are certain states that are believed to be pathetically, if you like, indebted. And as such, many people say it's worrisome, given that these monies are essentially borrowed on behalf of the citizens or the people in those states. And second, they also brought that if these governors are delivering the dividends of democracy in such a way that is commensurate with the borrowing that they are doing. Incidentally, one of the states in the eye of the storm in this regard is Edo State, where the governor has been said severally to say, look, he has not only been paying salaries and pensions as and when due, he has also been doing an amazing work, they say, regarding delivering infrastructure and other aspects of dividends of democracy without borrowing a kobo. That's what we've heard the last almost 2 years that he's been in office. Of course, that will be 2 years by November 12th later this year. Why is it in the news that Edo State has moved from a good to a bad place in the ranking of states across Nigeria that are highly, highly indebted? This morning, we're joined by the Special Advisor, Public Affairs and Media to Governor Monday Okhebholo, Honorable Brimo Haruna, to help us find sense and perspective in this conversation. A very good morning to you. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you, Oye. Always my pleasure to be
Great. I want us to, not just Edo State yet, but state governments in particular. We had seen in several cases in this country where even the Minister of Finance and the Debt Management Office had come out to say that, look, states would have to tread carefully in terms of how they borrow, so they don't leave their states in a worse place by the time these governors leave office. Today, I mean, I've spoken to you severally about those states, and what we've always heard is the governor, Senator Monday Okhebholo, is not only defraying the debt he met when he assumed office in 24, but he has also been working, delivering dividends of democracy without having to borrow. But it will appear that position now has been, if you like, debunked with these reports by Phillips Consulting.
No, I think these are two things. Phillips Consulting talks about fiscal governance momentum.
Right.
Yeah, which was reactionary, evaluating the past financial activities and related fiscal indices of governance.
In the states?
The past.
The past, does that mean before government?
Of course. They gave their reports a few weeks ago, and the report covers 2023-2024 financial position balance sheet of Edo State. Unfortunately, the errant boys of the opposition party or the remnant of the Obaseki group of the PDP, they quickly went to town with the rating that Edo is carrying last in that regard regarding the Philip consulting report.
Right.
But we quickly clarified the issue and made it known to the public that this report relied on indices, information, and data of activities of the former government from 2020 to 2024. Remember, Governor Modupe was sworn in mid-November 2024. So if you're talking of a balance sheet that covers 2020-2024, more than 90% belongs to the former administration. And the criteria used in drawing their evaluation, the Philip Consulting, they talked about momentum in debt services, momentum in IGRO position, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And in their own report, they alluded to the fact that Edo was highly indebted to the tune of almost 700 billion as at 2024. You understand? And our IGRO was very low, 6.7 billion as at 2024-2023. Now, all this was before Governor Monday Okhebholo came into office. Today, our IGRO is hovering between 10 to 30 billion monthly. You understand? As at September last year, we already hit our projective target in IGRO generation, which was, we've already beat their year-in, year-out comparison. We have already beat what they got. In 9 months, we've already gotten what the former administration got in 1 year in IGRO. You understand?
Right.
And in this 2026 budget, the Senator Modupe-led administration projected an IGRO of more than 160 billion, another 160 billion in PPP arrangement, cumulatively with the 430 billion in fact expectation, making up the 937 billion fiscal budget.
Almost $1 trillion.
Exactly, and in that budget, there is no room for deficit financing from borrowing, direct loan taking, or bond financing. Rather, it drove its budget deficit with PPP arrangement, which is being revealed in Edo State today with the $15 million, 100 megawatt electricity project that is going on in Ologbo, where the state government is having a 10% equity, $3 million Zeta automobile, tricycle and related spare part manufacturing assembly plant in Sapele Road that is ongoing, where the state government also have a 10%. We have the $100 million investment from agricultural expansion program of Presco palm oil that is ongoing. These are not promissory notes. These are direct foreign investments happening in those states. We're not talking of the local direct investment in the mining sector. The JVs and PPP arrangement that just been signed across just 4 companies, one from China in the mining sector in Akoko Edo North, in Akoko Edo local government, a few days ago, is about $250 million. If annexed and realized, you can imagine where the state will be in that regard. And all this has boosted IGRO, and the fact that the governor has also carried out fiscal activity in areas of IGRO, tax revenue generation, whereby he has digitized the system, automated the collection process, and now with the latest law of unifying revenue consolidation account for Edo State, we now have one Edo, one account, one revenue, where every other revenue generating.
I'm just curious, was that always the case even before Governor Okhebholo came on?
It was not, no.
We understand that the governance of the state had already been automated by his...
Automation is different from unification of revenue accounts. Now, every revenue source, we had, for example, Ministry of Land and Housing or Survey, they are revenue generating agency one way or the other.
Right.
The Ministry of Environment, you want to pay fees for pollution, hazard and safety. All those fees that were being paid by companies and related businesses were handled by Ministry of Environment. We had the Edo GIS that deals with Edo Geographical Information System that deal on lands, CFO and co. There are agencies that have been collecting revenues because of their activities. They have designated accounts, multiple accounts. Right now we are having a unified revenue collection system. And it's passed into law and signed to law 2026. And the Edo State Inland Revenue is now being mandated to be the only singular agency or outfit of government that collects these taxes, that administer it.
All right, so I want to help expand this commentary a bit further, right? Because numbers can be very confusing. But what we have also seen with politicians is when the statistics or the reports favor the government of the day, they welcome it and use it as a basis to push whatever narrative they want to put out there. But when it doesn't, you find a lot of efforts towards damage control. But I want you to do our viewers a favor this morning by helping them understand really when these reports come out, because we are in an electionary year already.
Of course.
So you can have on the one hand opposition weaponizing these figures. On the other hand, the government of the day trying to hide some aspect of these figures just to look good in the eye of the public. So where exactly do we stand today? Is Edo State indebted at a level that should bother citizens?
No. First of all, let me explain. The DMO report specifically talks about domestic debt.
Right.
Domestic debt are owings of governments to contractors, other liabilities, borrowing from banks, bonds, and guaranteed securities. That is what constitutes domestic debt. And in the case of Edo State, you remember we had a program last year, around June last year, where the state governor became a guarantor to a 100 billion First Bank project finance with its contractor that are handling critical projects.
Which was misconstrued for borrowing.
Right. It was never a direct, not that the state government went to the bank to borrow 100 billion or any amount of money. Rather, the state government stood as guarantor for contractors that were working for the state government, handling critical projects, to be able to access from that 100 billion naira 40-month tenured project finance facility. So that instead of delay in payments that will lead to stoppage of work on those critical projects, to forestall, to make sure there's no positing of funding on this project, the government created or became a guarantor for those contractors to access those facilities, the facility in First Bank, so that the project can continue. Because there's always a time lag between FAC allocation and when it is due and when it is received. For example, we are in August right now. I don't think any state in Nigeria has received June FAC allocation.
June?
Yeah.
Not even July?
Exactly. So are you now going to say that some of your contractors that are in your site, if after completing the percentage of job that you have paid them, because when you issue a contract at 100%, for example, you may say, I'm paying you, mobilization is 15% or 20%, depending on the procurement laws of that particular state or the government. And when you mobilize the contractor to site at 20-25%, when he has done the 25% of the job,
he comes back.
The engineers from the Ministry of Works or the respective agency overseeing the activities of such project will come and do assessment and evaluate and now issue you certificate of job completed at 25%.
At that level.
That is what you use again to seek for reimbursement going forward. Remember, every project have a timeline.
Right.
Imagine a project of 24 months. And because there's the timing of resource availability to finance the project, it's now leading to the contractor not being paid on time. The contractor will pull out of site within that 3 months. And when the contractor is coming back to site, whenever you now get your FAC allocation, he's telling you that there is variation in contract. What is contract variation? He's not telling you that between the period he pull out of site and between the period you are now reimbursing to go back to site, there is changes in price of material.
Inflation, for example.
Inflations must have affected the material. So the contract sum will now be increasing. And you now see the government coming out that a project I initially awarded for 17 billion because of changes in because of a time lag and whatever delay, the contract is now 25 billion. The same citizens will react that this government is eating money and other. Remember what happened to Radisson Blue Hotel? Initially 17 billion bond. At the end of the day, we ended up spending 27 billion. From there, it's skyrocketed to 30 billion that the state government of Obaseki had to now evolve PPP. Originally, the idea was to build an Edo state-owned tourism hotel. But when there was constant variation in the activities of the project, then it needed to now evolve PPP. You understand? To avoid all these things, that was when the ingenious project financing model was brought to bear by His Excellency Governor Monday Okhebholo, whereby only the state government stood as guarantor. So whatever credits in amount that is credited to the contractor account become a debit to the guarantor. These are pure public finance arrangement. This model should even be copied by other state governments. But as far as DMO office is concerned, they will capture it as a debt. Remember, I said 40-month tenure. You understand? Which is about roughly around 3 years plus. You understand?
Right.
What if after 3 years? Because when the government is now paying the contractor, the government is no longer paying to the contractor, it's paid to the bank. Whenever the fact comes, percentage of work done, or to reimburse the contractor to move back to
the bank.
You pay to the bank, and that payment to the bank will defray. In the next quarter, maybe when the DMO report comes again, you will discover there's changes in this debt figure. And that this debt figure of 81, the difference is 81 billion increase. It may not even be there again.
I'm just curious.
So as a guarantor, just like you guarantee me for a bank facility,
right?
For whatever reason, as far as you said, you are standing in for me, that whatever that is given to me should be debited to you. You will bear the debt. The debt will be in your name. That is just what happened. Not that His Excellency Governor Monday Okhebholo went to the capital market to collect
in the event that you default, the bank holds me responsible. So
we are saying the same thing because there is not even room for.
So is that not technically a debt already?
Technically, that's why I said debt different from borrowing.
But ultimately, there's financial obligation.
Financial obligation on the state government to finance the contractor's project. And whereby the state government, remember, there is continuity, there's no exactly. So the government is saying, instead of paying the contractor the money, when the FAC allocation comes, you pay to the bank.
But I want to ask you this.
And this is without interest being borne by the government. There is no interest financing that, at the end of the month, the government need to finance the debt, service the debt.
Is it categorically valid to say, Governor Monday Okhebholo has been in office now for give or take 21 months, which is
20 months.
Okay, 20 months. All right. Is it categorically valid or correct to say he has not borrowed?
Absolutely, he has not borrowed a dime from any bank or collected money from the bond market. So he has a guaranteed project finance debt guaranteed for contractors that are working in Edo State. For example, the Sapele Bini is a federal road. Bini Sapele Warri Road is a federal road. In February 2025, he met with the president and the minister of work. He took over the road. That project runs in billions, and that project has not stopped for one day. Right now, they are close to Ologbo. After Ologbo is the boundary. In fact, Ologbo is the boundary town
between
Delta State and Edo State.
Right.
You understand? That project has not stopped for one day. The flyover, Rama Park flyover, is the longest flyover undertaken by any state government in Nigeria. That project has not stopped for one day. They are almost 95 to 97% completion. The Sapele Road, between Sapele Road, Dume Junction, and this one Junction flyover also. That is a federal government. That is a federal road. That project is about 40%. Since it started this year, it has not stopped. Work goes on even during rains. Work has been ongoing there. If the contractors are not constantly and regularly being reimbursed, do you think those jobs will continuously be going on? As we speak today, the Bini Auchi Road, Bini Ekpoma Irua to Ewu to Agbede Auchi Road is ongoing. As we speak, we are close to Benefit Aflami in Ewu and heading towards the slope to get to Agbede in Esako West, all the way from Iruekpe in Esa Central, in Edo Central. Now we are heading to Edo North. And if you are on that stretch of the road again, from Abiele to Edo to Agbede, it's also coming from that end. While from the Irua Ewu side, it's coming from the other end. Everything almost getting be done. These are all projects that have not stopped. If there was not this project finance model of standing as a guarantor for these project executors to have access to constant funding from that particular 100 billion facility. Maybe we would have been having a snail-like motion or movement in this project execution. So it's safe to say that this government of His Excellency Senator Monday Okhebholo has not borrowed a dime from any bank, but has stood as guarantor for a project finance arrangement between vetted contractors and specific contractors handling critical projects in Edo State. Secondly, the same government have paid in the same ranking, the same DMO released that the state government has paid $29 million for a foreign loan that they inherited, that they did not incur. But that one never became headline. The same debt management office also said that the state government of His Excellency Senator Monday Okhebholo has paid $30 billion from the domestic debt he inherited. That never made headline. That is the irony of selective narrative that you have in the Nigerian media space. And people run political narrative on it, and social media has become a platform where all sort of misleading information is spread.
Assuming, without conceding, that Governor Monday Okhebholo has not borrowed a dime, I mean to use your word, since he assumed office, can we say we are attributing that reality to the, if you like, bump in federal allocation coming to the state? Is that the reason?
Not necessarily, because we have a lot of it's not the highest among the states that are receiving federal allocation.
But it's not, the state that has the most demands in terms of public.
Why do you think it's not the state that has the most demands? The infrastructural deficit in Edo State that inherited is something else. I just told you.
Is that the highest? It's even one of the 5 highest.
Oh, of course, it's among. I just told you of a total liability of inheriting a balance sheet liability of almost 700 billion in debt. Is that not enough? And you are defrailing it, and this government is defrailing it. Not to talk of the fact that
aside the federal,
the state has been voted as number 5th on fiscal governance management, performance management. So nationwide.
What are the fundamentals? Is the IGRO? Is it?
Yeah, of course. We are right now. We are number 8 on the state with the least reliance on the FAC allocation. We score 74%. Edo State score 74%. Our IGR now has increased to the extent that we only rely on 26% on FAC allocation, all things being equal. Look at the budget now. I just explained to you, if you add PPP, the figure in public-private partnership investment drive to finance deficit, add it to the capital receipts figure, add it to the IGR figure, it's almost more than, it's more than the FAC allocation, because the FAC allocation in the 2026 budget stood at about 440 billion. So all things being equal, if FAC stop today, we will only suffer 26% in revenue needs to drive the state. That means conveniently we can take on recurrent expenditure, because in the budget 68% is going to capital consign. Before his administration, the state was relying on FAC allocation more than almost 70%. But now the state is relying on FAC at 26%. Before his government, Edo State was number 5th in Nigeria among the 5 top states that were borrowing month by month on the created budget support fund from Central Bank under Emefiele. Edo State, we were borrowing to pay salary. Right now, we are creating a model of project financing to drive capital projects, not borrow to pay salary.
I've spoken to some very brilliant economists, financial experts like yourself, who also say that it was not a peculiarity to Edo State, because they say that even the federal government under the late former President Buhari also borrowed to pay salary. So I'm even talking of
2024 subsidy. Removal happened May 2023.
Right.
Where in 2023 budget, Edo State was least to Zamfara State, the lowest state with provision for budgets. Governor's office budgetary allocation in 2023-2024 budget was more than that of education budget. Remember, the state borrowed $75 million from World Bank to drive education.
Edo Best.
That we never saw the light of the day. Today, His Excellency Senator Monday Okhebholo has delivered 68 schools and ongoing. The target is 100 schools across primary, secondary. I'm not talking of the higher institutions in Edo State that he has increased their funding. Abu Salih University, you know, from 40 million a month monthly subvention from the former administration to about 500 million. Edo University, Iyamo, to 250 million from 100 million.
Now, I'm not going to ask you about the status of Edo University. I want to ask you about infrastructure, road in particular in this case.
Exactly.
And then efforts being made for, if you like, remediation in terms of flooding in the state. I want to get to something. When you have this kind of conversation, both people who are from Edo and those who are not will be wowed. They feel impressed about it. But when you listen to people who have a different side to this story, they say, how can the government of Senator Monday Okhebholo say we have done this and this and this and this and this, but then there are bad roads in the GRA where the government house is domiciled, including roads that leads directly to the government house? How do you explain that irony?
Okay, there's nothing ironic about it. First of all, the politics in Nigeria, politics of governance in Nigeria is centered around not constructive criticism but fault findings. So when fault finders are driving narrative, it's different from where critics, genuine critics, who actually mean well. Senator Monday only talking about practical governance. Every project I've measured today from Benin Sapele Road is visible. You can see it. If you have your slides here, you should be showing it to Nigerians too. The flyovers I'm talking about, they are there. 500 kilometers of roads under construction across 18 local government. Now to the GRA road. This is the same GRA that former Governor Obaseki said they have constructed all the roads. Are you now saying those roads failed within the last 30 months? There is no single road in GRA with drainage system. Uyi, you've been in Benin, you were in ITV, you have worked in Benin. Is there any road within GRA with a drainage system to channel the water? And now, His Excellency Senator Monday Okhebholo has completed a feasibility plan and study which have been submitted. The consultant have submitted it in about 2 weeks ago. Total remodeling, because it's going to be in 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, to revamp and reconstruct the roads in GRA with drainage channel 1 to the Sapele Road side for exactly the drainage. In partnership with the NUMA program and the EDOFEM and the Edo State Flood and Erosion Control Agency under the leadership of Mohammed Bawa Okoyomo. The other one is the channel to Ogba River, so that we have permanent solution. Instead of giving palliative measure to the potholes that will also fail, because we are in the heat of rainy season, and you know Edo and rains. These are not major roads that will say, okay, these are express federal, these are internal roads within GRA. And we are talking of absence of drainage system that has been making the roads to fail. So will you continue to be giving palliative measure where you will have the opportunity to give a holistic approach without preempting the total cost of remodeling those roads? It's in billions. And the remodeling plan has just been submitted. Within the next few months, job will commence. As far as GRA, so is providing, is redesigning and reconstructing the roads, and also redesigning and creating what never existed, which is drainage system. All the big men in Edo State all live in GRA, building their road to the main road without drainage. You know, all the big hotels are in GRA without drainage in front of hotels. Even the Radisson Blue Hotel that Obaseki sank more than 32 billion into, that is still ongoing as we speak. There is no drainage at the front of that massive edifice. That is the real irony. When you see the makers of beautiful mortars pounding their yard with broken pestles.
Okay, so let me borrow that beautiful mortar pounding their yard. Okay, so I want to talk about issues around some of the projects that we can categorically say the governor has prioritized. The flyovers, for example. There are people who say that priority is misplaced because they say there are more pressing issues. There are worse roads in Edo than you need a flyover in Benin.
What is the
talk to our viewers about what makes it a necessity to introduce flyovers?
You know, as I said, it's funny and it's rather unfortunate because we have lived in Benin. I was born and raised in Benin. You were born and raised in Benin. Uyi. You know what the traffic, the productivity, manpower loss, productivity performance reduction, and the time loss when you are caught in the middle of traffic in Rama Park, especially during the Okhebholo market day. This is a junction or a major outfit that lead to overslope from the other side, which is the major entrance to the main Benin city, where you have the the Murtala Mohammed Way, the Ababa Road, and by extension the new Benin side. This is a particular place that has link directly to Delta State and by extension the eastern part of the country. This is a particular place that has link directly to Aduawa and by extension the Edo Central, Edo North, and the northern part of Nigeria. Isn't it? How important such place should be. And this particular place has no single alternative because there is a Ikoba River there.
Right.
There's no alternative route that you can say, I'm going to go through this and go through that to escape it when you are hooked in that place. And people are living even beyond. In Umode is almost in Benin. Umode is outside the Aduawa. And just because you want to critique, these people came and said that Senator Okhebholo was not building anything, that is just light of flyover. By the time they saw the beam being erected, they said it's going to be a abandoned project. By the time the project became more visible to everybody, do you know how many adjoining streets and roads around the flyover alone? Let's leave the flyover. Do you know the massive erosion control that even the military barrack that is in Rama Park, Nigerian Army barrack, we have the Army Day Secondary School that was swallowed with flood and erosion. Today, that building is back to life. The erosion in the process of building the flyover, the governor mandated the contractor that every adjoining road and street, including Obaseki Street, Jamila Junction, and the erosion issue in that place, Lucky Way, they were all constructed. And remember INEC office around Iyayi property there. Right. This is a no-go area. Remember the High Court, the Benin High Court that was there, Appeal Court. This is a no-go area in those days. Today, the erosion issue in all that area has been curbed. Livelihood, economic activity have returned to this area. Army Day Secondary School was not just saved, was totally reconstructed and rebuilt. People are now withdrawing their awards for private schools to this school. You still talk about importance of infrastructure. How many roads in Benin is housing 5 local government right now? Umode is now part of Benin. Okhebholo is in Benin City. Oredo is in Benin City. The local government is in Benin City. And part of Obia, you just see the Oku Junction now. That palliative work is being done. The plan is to do a drag. That's the federal road.
Is that far-reaching?
The far-reaching, I just thought it is be captured in 2026 budget.
Would that be holistic?
The holistic approach is to create a dual carriage road that leads to Sobe and Onwa. Remember, that is also a federal road. That you are connecting Edo South to Edo North from that axis. Onwa is in Edo North. Are we going to talk of the Okhebholo road? That is the heart of Benin. What of the Upper Sea local road? Ego local government. Heart of Benin. People of Okhebholo have not had access road for 15 years. Today they are jubilating. These are completed projects. What of the Upper Ekewa road that the governor had to extend after it was abandoned by the previous administration? He did not just continue, he extended it beyond the military barrack in Ekewa barrack. And by extension, constructed a brand new school for Ekewa for the barrack. And it was commissioned. And they created a channel erosion retention center in that Ekewa road. Completed to retain water. The Okhebholo axis of the Sapele Road, 5 roads adjoining street are being constructed even as you are building the flyover bridge. For every flyover is building, every adjoining road, associated road is constructed along. So that you don't, the impact of, you cannot be building one critical project and be creating erosion issue for the area.
For what you have said so far, I mean, if we...
This is just road.
Yeah.
Because the full agenda is shine agenda.
Yeah, right.
S is for security. Today, are we talking about security again in Edo State? The palpable insecurity has reduced. H is for earth. We are now number 9.
By what rank?
Health preparedness in Nigeria.
By what rank?
Primary health care preparedness. 78 PSA primary health centers are being built across 18 local governments, equipped and empowered with employment, graduate employment to man them across every rural area and urban area. So that you don't say you go to a primary health center, you did not meet any staff. We now have primary health care workers, both medical and paramedical and non-medical, both administrative, 1,300. Just 2 weeks ago, we increased their salary by 53%, unprecedented. What was our figure? Let's check the ease of doing business. Before his administration, we were 37 out of 36 states and FCT on ease of doing business, even when we had a secular economy ministry under the administration of the so-called educated technocrats. Today, what is the figure? I think we are around number 8 on ease of doing business. Why do you think the foreign direct investors are trickling in? Are we going to talk about the electricity and power drive? 100 megawatts is being built. I'll send you the video. These are practical. This is not MOU signing. IZ Energy is driving 7.7% mini grid solar power electricity. Alimat Hospital in Okhebholo in Edo North is building 3 megawatt electricity plants to cover the Edo North axis. While the government has built 11 KVS and 3 KV substations in Edo Central. Inside the earth, 150 beds, International Model Hospital in Edo Central, under construction, more than 80%, starting from foundation.
Well,
is it the Edo State Earth Institute that has now been decentralized, one in Benin, one being built in Edo Central too? The 500 kilometers of road cut across every local government. In your local government, between Auchi to Ibilo, that connect to Okene, is a federal road. As we speak, it's being constructed. That is Akoko Edo local government, where you are from.
Okay, well, I think that would be a reason.
Maybe you have to be going home regularly.
Yes, so I can do my own assessment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. But I think one of the things highlighted in this conversation is to say that state governments must sit up and do their job.
Of course, they must.
So Nigerians don't have to run to Abuja, to the presidency
exactly.
for toothpick and for...
Of course. For independent outfit have rated the state on budget implementation performance.
Well, I think that will give us a basis to further
82%
some other time.
Budget implementation.
Right.
No state. Few states, only Lagos State.
I'm afraid this is the much time we'll allow us to take on this conversation. We are so grateful to you, Honorable Haruna Brimo. He is the special advisor to Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okhebholo on public affairs and media, here to talk about not just what the governor is doing or the state government is doing, but what the subnationals ordinarily should be doing for their people, giving all of the latitude, the fiscal latitude that they have in this regard. Again, starting with the fact that we now see a very significant increase in the monthly allocations that they receive. Once again, we're grateful to you for your time.